Hey, what's up guys? Coach Matt, Play Fast Football. I'm going to do a video today on choosing player roles as you get into this time of the year, building into spring football, starting to look at some of your younger kids and figuring out where they're going to play and what positions you want them to play. So I'm going to look a little bit today at choosing the role of certain players, and we're going to look at offensive and defensive line. Remember to check out some of our sponsors, GameStrat, the sideline replay system we use. In the description box down below, you'll see a link to take you directly to GameStrat's website. If you're looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, make sure you check out GameStrat. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room. Thousands of reps without needing a partner. Nobody needs to hold a bag or a med ball. It's just a player and the DifferenceUSA ultimate striking machine. JustPlayFB, digital software taking your program to the next level. It's the only play diagram tool that I use to draw things. If I'm speaking at clinics or doing any webinars online, I will use JustPlay, so make sure you check them out. Defensive Coordinator 1, in-game app, letting you make critical in-game adjustments based on the live actual in-game data. So you know what the other team is supposed to be doing. You know what they're now calling, what you've called. Use the live in-game data to now make your in-game adjustments and eliminate some of the guesswork. Max 1, which is an app, allows coaches to streamline organization, communication, scheduling, workouts all in one platform. So makes a head coach's job a little bit easier when you can get all the things you need to do in one platform, get your team loaded up, and be able to do all the things you need to do with communication and scheduling and organization in that one platform at Max 1. All right, and then Dome Hats, which is the headwear company for Play Fast Football. All right, I've used Dome Hats for the last 8 or 9 years now. Great company, customer service, located here in Northeast Florida. Great online custom hat builder, so they can do anything with your hat. You can do it. You can build it yourself however you want to build it. All right. They know that every coach has a story, every program has a story, every hat has a story. Let Dome help you tell your story. So right now we're in middle of February, end of February, actually almost into March now. We start spring football on April 27th. So you got to start looking at how you're going to fit in some of the roles of your players leading into next season, starting with spring ball. So especially your 9th grade kids that you've only had for a year, you're trying to develop those kids, see what they're doing, see how big they're getting, how much stronger they're getting, see who you can count on, who are the players that really want to work, and who are the players that are really accountable that you want to lean on in your program. And then you've got to start finding kind of a direction for them if you're trying to build them into one position. So at our school, I have several adjunct coaches that are off-campus coaches, so they're not around as much in the off-season. So I'm the one that is here every day with our kids, seeing what our kids are doing, seeing what they're doing in the weight room. Now that we start running a little bit with one of our assistant coaches that was helping out with basketball, now that basketball's over, he can start running those kids a little bit more. So we can start to get a feel for the off-season development of those kids and now start penciling them into positions that we feel like they can help the team on one side of the ball or the other. So we're going to look at offensive and defensive line. All right, so the first thing you got to look at is we can't recruit, trade, or sign players. All right, so in our off-season development, we'll get some new kids on campus that want to play football, or some new kids that coaches or other sports have seen that say, hey, this kid looks, you know, he's a big kid, he looks physical, he may want to play football, and we'll get a couple of those kids in the off-season, and then we'll take our kids from last year, and we basically have to develop the kids that we have on our campus. You can't count on getting kids from other campuses. You can't count on trading for players. You can't count on signing free agents. You're really not going to count on your incoming 8th graders for your varsity program yet, except in a rare occasion. So we have to develop the players that we have, and we have to be smart with not only how we're developing them, but the role that we're going to choose to develop them in. All right? We have to develop what we have. All right? Again, we have to develop the players that we have and the players that we know we can count on and the players that we can lean on to be the leaders and the role players in our program. And then we've got to be able to kind of lean them in a direction to say that this is what I think is best for our program and this is what I think is best for you. All right, the O-line skill set takes longer to develop. So I had 1 or 2 young kids, 9th grade kids, that have been developing really well in the weight room, and we like them as players. And 1 or 2 of them were bigger kids that I was going to make nose guards in our 3-3 stack, and I was going to try and play a 290 to 300 pound kid at the nose guard position and try and eat up double teams and try and beat up on the center a little bit. And I started thinking that the way we play defense and the types of kids that we have in our program it's probably better off to take our bigger kids and try and mold them into becoming offensive linemen. And the offensive skill set for O-line, all right, takes longer to develop. So I'd like to make that move now, all right, when they're 9th graders going into 10th grade, to say that, hey, this is going to be the role for you for the next 3 years. So I'm now leaning on taking some of those bigger kids and making them O-linemen, all right, and then going back and playing defense the way we've been playing it the last couple of years. All right, you need to identify your O-lineman early, because to me, your program revolves around your O-line. It's the attitude, the mentality, the physicality, the work ethic of your O-line that really sets apart a great football program. So you want to try and identify those guys as early as you can and give them as much time as possible working in your program with your O-line coach to get them to become solid offensive linemen. And I think that skill set takes a little bit longer to develop, so we want to try and identify those offensive linemen early. All right? Bad O-line play is hard to overcome. Okay, regardless of how good you are at the skill positions. All right, if you're not good on the O-line, it's hard to overcome bad O-line play. You can do a lot of things to kind of hide the O-line. You can get rid of the ball quickly. You can throw some screens. You can get some perimeter runs and try and leave as many guys at the point of attack either unblocked or circle the wagons a little bit and get outside if you have speed. But at the end of the day, in a football game that's going to have 55 to 75 offensive snaps, it's just really hard to overcome excuse me, bad O-line play. So we want to focus on developing offensive linemen that are going to be the center of our offensive unit and the backbone of our offensive unit, and we want to develop them at a young age so that we can have solid O-line play on the varsity level. Okay, speed on defense, movement. Okay, you can take smaller players and use them on defense, especially in a 3-3 stack the way we play it. You can take some smaller players and you can use movement. You can have stunts, slants and angles, pressures, and do some things to alleviate the fact that those linemen are a little bit smaller. It's very hard to take smaller O-linemen, all right, and you can do it in certain schemes. You can have smaller guards that can pull, all right, and give them angles on down blocks to where they don't have enough ass or size behind them maybe to straight move people, but you give them angles and then you pull them and get them out in space. So you can play with smaller linemen, but I think it's harder to do. I think it's easier to play good defense with smaller athletic defensive linemen than it is to play good offense with smaller offensive linemen. All right? And they're easier to find solid D linemen in a high school program if they're athletes and they have the right attitude. All right? And you've got a good D line coach. You can take athletes with the right attitude. All right? And if they're physical and if they're willing to, you know, be at the point of attack and in the trenches, even though they may only be 180 or 185 pounds, you can find those kids and they'll be great at block recognition. They'll be great when you need to move them or stunt them, all right? And then they'll work on the craft of block destruction, and then they'll do exactly what you ask them to do in the scheme, and then you can fit the scheme around them. We have way more of those kids that are 180 to 200 pounds that are tough and physical and athletic and have a good twitch so that we can make them D linemen. It's very hard to take that 190-pound kid and make him a dominant offensive lineman. All right, so it's easier, at least at the schools that I've been at and the school that I'm at currently, it's easier to find athletic, smaller bodies, all right, that can play good defense. All right, they can run to the ball, they can be tenacious, they can play with effort and attitude, they can pursue, they can work on getting 11 helmets to the ball. You can develop that mindset on defense and that attitude with some kids that are athletic and tough and physical. So we choose this time of year when we start identifying players, all right, we kind of choose to take our bigger bodies and make them O-linemen and then take our athletic in-between bodies that are maybe 180, 190, 200, all right, and maybe they don't run well enough to play linebacker, but they're athletic enough to play D-line, all right, and we choose to go about it that way. Now, every school is different. If you've got 8 or 10, 280 to 300-pound kids in your program, and you know that they're your linemen, and then you have a bunch of 240 to 260-pound kids that you're going to make into your defensive line, all right, then more power to you. Every program is different. Not everybody has the luxury to have, excuse me, all those tools in their program, and it's not like, you know, college or the NFL where we can go out and recruit bodies to say, hey, we're looking for this type of player at a certain position, and we're going to go out and select the people that we want. We're kind of playing cards with the hand that we're dealt and the kids that come to our school to play football, all right? So we have to make sure that we choose how to develop them and then the roles that we want to develop them in the right way. So during this time of year, those are the things that we're looking at in our program, is we're looking at finding, this year I put a big onus on figuring out at the younger age who our linemen are going to be. Who can handle the workload, who's got the work ethic, who's got the tenacity, who's got the attitude, who wants to be physical, and who wants to be coached, because that position needs to be coached up all the time. All right, it's usually a special group that you love working with because they don't have a diva mentality. They know they're not going to touch the ball. They're not worried about stats. So they're usually a really fun group to work with. So at this time of year, it's very important going into April 27th when we start spring ball that we identify who those linemen are, because you don't want to make mistakes identifying. You're going to make some here or there. You know, kids grow. They grow differently. They develop differently as they get older. They get into different things as they get older. So there's going to be some mistakes made, but you don't want to make a ton of mistakes at the O-line position. You'd like to find them early, and then you'd like to really work on the skill sets to become better linemen. For us, we're going to more inside zone, outside zone, or wide zone stuff. So it's going to be very important for them to learn the different techniques that they need to use on inside zone or wide zone stuff, and then learn how to work with the player next to them so that they can understand all the combinations and all the cutoffs and all the climbs and the departure angles that we're working on to get to the next level, and how to overtake and how to reach, and if we can't get it reach, what we're going to do. So with the inside zone and outside or wide zone theory, we feel like we need to identify these kids a little bit sooner. And like I said, we are leaning towards now taking our bigger kids that are younger and making them offensive linemen, and then taking our more athletic kids that are physical enough and have an attitude, all right, and making them our defensive linemen. All right, so that's just us at our school. That's kind of how we do it. I want to get back to good offensive line play. We've struggled a little bit with our O-line play. The first 4 years that I've been at this school, we had some years where we thought we were going to be pretty good, and then an injury or two kind of cut into that, and then we had some years that we knew we were going to be down a little bit, and we had to do some things differently with our skill set and our skill players to kind of alleviate or take some pressure off the O-line. But I want to get back to leaning on the O-line as our best group, our hardest working group. I want to get kids that are physical. I want to get kids that take pride in running the football and protecting the quarterback. And I want to get kids that take pride in playing that position. Not kids that are always looking to play a different position. I want kids that want to play that position, and we want to develop them at that position. All right, so hopefully this video helps you if you're trying to determine what guys you're going to use or where you're going to use them. For us, the way we play defense, we can get away with smaller players, and what we're trying to do on offense, all right, we've got two really good running backs that we like a lot, that we think are going to be very good, and they're both young. All right, so we feel like we want to run the football, and we feel like those kids can be a strong suit in our program, and we want to give them the best available opportunity by putting offensive linemen in front of them that can move people and that can be physical at the point of attack and that can understand the scheme. We want smart kids, hardworking kids that aren't afraid to play the position the way it needs to be played. So right now for us, at the end of February, beginning of March, that's what we're leaning towards. When my off-campus coaches start getting here in March and we start putting together our spring installation plan, we'll start sitting down and penciling in the names of guys that we think we want to be our offensive linemen. Hopefully we are correct with 90% of those, and then the 10% that we're wrong on, maybe we can find 2 or 3 other bodies that we weren't counting on that surprise us in the spring. So let me know in the comments section below what you think about developing your offensive or defensive lineman, how you go about choosing who you think is going to play each position, and what the criteria is for you to choose that position. Let me know if you have an abundance of linemen so it's easy for you, or if you're always struggling to find linemen, maybe at a smaller school or a school that doesn't have as many players. Let me know in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you like or don't like the video, so we know what types of videos to do next. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn that bell for the notifications. Turn that notifications bell on and ring it so that every time we do a video, you know we're doing a video. All right, so again, I appreciate everything you guys do for me. Thanks for being part of the channel. Thanks for following. Thanks for making the first clinic we did a month ago a huge success and in 7 years. Thanks for continuing to grow the Play Fast Football brand. I appreciate it greatly. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast, and I'll see you guys next time.